Welcome to Entombed Valley, the site for our first match between these two players, these two titans of their respective communities. In the top right corner, we have from Team Evil Genius's Raid Call. It is Thorzain, the reigning WCS Sweden national champion, winner of DreamHack Stockholm earlier this year, and currently 1-4 in the North American Star League. In the bottom left, we have from Team SK Gaming. It is MC, the most successful Protoss in StarCraft 2 history, although based off the way Rain's been playing, he might have a contender really soon. Rain earned $64,000 in the month of October.
God.
That's already 1/6 of what MC has earned in a course of 2.5 years.
And who knows? He could still win more now because it is October. Actually, in Korea, it's not. Never mind. Take it back. But nevertheless, so we have these two players. I would say MC is the small favorite going into this, as Thorzain just has not been performing in the NASL. We can see that he is already starting off with, I thought it was going to be a 14 Nexus, but he is going ahead and putting down the gateway. We do have a gas opening from Thorzain. This has been getting a little bit more popular in the TVPC, Frodan.
Yeah, I think people have been realizing that if you try to open too greedy, Protoss can punish it a lot easier with pressure timings, and also just increases your versatility. A lot of Terrans love going for things like Hellion drops, as we saw, videos pop up on Reddit all the time of Hellions killing probes. Things like that can really confuse it, and also I think it's time for Thorzain to also mix it up too on his personal level. He's been known for a long time to be just a predictable macro player, always going for one rack fast expand, always going for the heavy 3 base play and take it slow. Once in a while, mixing up is never a bad thing.
That's right, and on Entombed Valley, there's definitely a lot of different ways that you can mix it up and be pretty successful. Now, there is the first probe coming in here, and if you can see the gas going down, or even the command center, that'll be very successful. But no, the probe doesn't even see the command center or up this ramp, so that's a big problem. Right now, there is the range that it could be some sort of gas opening, but more than likely, MC is saying to himself, my opponent's probably taking a fast expansion. I know we're cross positions. That is a little bit of a problem because there's a lot of times when Protoss is caught off guard, they take an expansion. Hellion builds can be super, super effective.
I agree, and the Hellions can traverse a large distance, scout, so that way you have enough time to do stuff. Although Thorzain going for an early Marauder while getting a factory launch, I haven't seen this variation of build in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe Hellion Marauder of some kind?
Maybe. It's most likely something like that. We could probably even see a Starport coming in here, or maybe not. There's no second gas, so I take that back. So we will just have Hellion Marauder, as you just said. A little bit of engagement in the middle of the map. I'm not quite sure. It looks like a probe was killed so far. But that being said, MC probably will lose his Zealot. And if he's not careful enough, he could potentially lose his Stalker because, remember, Concussive Shell is there. This is a very dangerous time for MC to actually be pushing out here. And oh no, Frodan! This is bad. Oh, wow.
Is he be able to get it either way? The Hellion should be able to continue to add damage. Right. This one Zealot might get caught. Ooh, MC playing with fire, trying to kite as best as he can. Add some damage onto that Hellion as it's running away. These early units matter a lot because things are compounding over time. 2 Marauders can snipe out units really quickly, especially when it comes to Stalkers.
And he's going to go ahead and try
even using the Hellion to confuse the AI. Awesome job by Thorzain to micro here.
It's unfortunate. He didn't actually stutter step the micro, the Marauder. There's a little bit of frame animation that you can cancel right after an attack to make it so that you can do a continuation slow with that Marauder Concussive Shell, but he wasn't able to do it right there. Still, Thorzain is in an uncomfortable position, but there are SCVs that are being pulled right now. That'll help out quite a bit. These bunkers dropping down are a little bit late, but that says, hey, MC, come at me. You have to do it really quickly, or your Nexus is going to go down.
Is MC going to keep the Nexus?
He does.
So he's going to move down the ramp within the next few seconds. And there it is. Guardian Shield to pop, so he has to take out these units before they do anything. Probes are being pulled as well to distract the SCVs. Hellion's being pulled back, trying to see if they can dodge some of the damage. Marauders doing a good job picking off the Stalker count, but there's a little bit too many units, and MC will stabilize.
That's right. There is still a little bit of worries, though, because these Hellions are getting into the main base. 2 of them get into the main base. That means most certainly a probe will die, but how many will it be? 2 so far. I think that's only 3. Nice job He does salvage the bunker, and it looks like the Nexus will stay up. So very nicely done. You know, if Thorzain actually pulled the SUVs a little bit earlier, he would have netted that Nexus most likely. Forced his opponent to actually push out further or just lose the Nexus altogether. But how it stands right now, MC is pretty far ahead, having that Nexus down way before his opponent. And look at this, Thorzain is struggling to get some sort of defense against these impending Stalkers.
Now Thorzain transitioning to Marine Tank. Going for some early safety. This might follow up into a 2-base push if he feels safe enough to do so. But MC's going to also counter pressure before the bunker comes up. But Thorzain should be safe as long as he's got a tank as well as Siege Mode going to finish up soon. MC really can't pressure. MC's going to eventually have to start choosing other options. There it is. He's going to start gassing at the natural and just do a light contain on his opponent, threatening the counter push.
And it's a little bit scary because I like what MC is doing. He's actually continuing the pressure to force SCVs off the line, force Thorzain to make a big reaction because, in fact, he doesn't want to be committed onto siege tanks too long. Siege tanks aren't good at mid-end game. But how it stands, he's going to try to pressure up, killing one of the siege tanks, but not being able to kill the bunker. Nicely done by Thorzain. That's not a costly trade, to be honest.
For MC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, well, he did try to pressure one of the tanks again, but one tanks for those many units, pretty costly for MC, although he is already preparing his follow-up transition, banking a lot of resources. Is he going to take this notion to expand to a third base? Yeah, he will. So
yeah, I don't mind that at all. Income tab shows 30 to 45. MC feels like he's ahead. He's not ahead in tech, but it's okay because his economy is really starting to roar, and I feel like that's going to be so powerful in, you know, Entombed Valley, to be completely honest, it's not a great pushing map based on three bases. If you're trying to push and your opponent has this high ground advantage, they do normally have the defensive advantage. It's not like other maps like, let's say, Antigua Shipyard, where you can really take advantage of the main base and the natural at the same time. No, this is really, really difficult to actually attack the natural and another spot. So for MC, it's going to be very easy for him to position his units and defend against any potential attacks.
Well, we see Thorzain now starting to get very critical upgrades, double engineering bay, adding on his starport as well so he can get out those units. Is he going to go for a counter push? He can't play this far behind of his opponent because eventually MC is just going to have too large of a macro ability, especially with charge onto the field, as well as his double forge starting on the same time as double engineering bay. MC is going to be ahead in upgrades at one point, and that's just going to be hard for Thorzain to climb if he's going to be down in upgrades and down in the production capability.
That's right, and as we can see, a lot of barracks are already down, and as you said, the E-base. That's a big problem because normally you actually start getting your third command center way before this, but because there are so many barracks up, it actually facilitates some sort of pressure. If Thorzain goes into macro mode from here on out, MC's just going to be so far ahead because of his Nexus timing. So when it comes down to it, Thorzain needs to pressure up on his opponent, and I'm really willing to see how he does that right now.
Well, usually it's a 2 medevac pressure, but this is so late. It's 12 minutes, and medevacs aren't even out onto the field yet. Thorzain, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't just drop a command center without being able to pressure, shut down the third base. MC's now adding gases 5 and 6 and powering off of 6 more gateways. This is going to be devastating, especially now he's getting war prisms out to the field. And this is a thing that a lot of Protoss love doing in mid to late game PvT nowadays. Getting a war prism in the middle of the game, pressuring Terran instead of letting them pressure the Protoss.
And the Templar Archives is going to be so valuable in this situation. Not only do you feed back the medevacs and really make them useless, but the Archons become invaluable. It allows like these force fields to be thrown down, and then you can just bust them with your Archons. That might seem counterintuitive, but a lot of times you use the force field to trap a certain amount of units, and then your Zealots are trapped. But now your Archons can bust through, and then you can do continuation attacks and keep up the pressure. We're going to see 2 medevacs being dropped, one at the top, one at the bottom, but MC looks like he has units all over the place, and with the mass burst amount of units that he can put down, 9 total gateways, I feel like this will do very, very minimal damage.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough, especially if he's just throw in a couple Archons there to absorb some of the damage, as well as the kiting from the Marauders. Thorzain also splitting up his units with that double drop, so that's going to make his pressure even weaker, but he's picking nice spots to drop, and he's not losing too many units. In fact, very nice sweet spot here in the main base, although now MC has to worry about this pressure onto the third base. Does he have the splits correct? In fact, almost all of his zealots here at the natural is not doing anything productive. Thorzain finding a small little opening at the third base.
That's right, but all that needs to happen is the congregation of units and then the commitment of all of these units as well. Looks like Thorzain will be able to clean up a lot of units. Doing a great job, actually. MC uncharacteristically mis-microing a lot of this, Frodan.
He's worried about the main base drop, doesn't want to lose his tech. More zealots being warped in. Charge just finished as well as Blink, giving his stock a little bit more mobility, but there are no stalkers. It's pure zealots and a single Archon to defend. MC warping in more zealots. In fact, he's got 12, no, he's got almost 16 at the natural. This medevac is going to drop, and MC is going to crash onto these siege tanks directly. And he holds because just sheer out of macro. He just got so much money.
Frodan, it's just so much stuff. I mean, gateway units are not good at clearing up multi-pronged harassments. A lot of times you need to commit a ton of units just to clear up a single drop. So it displaces units, it gives options for Thorzain. And Thorzain still wasn't able to capitalize on anything of substance. He wasn't able to kill the Nexus. He wasn't able to really minimize the economy of MC all too much. Income tab showing 66 to 54 harvesters. And as you can see, MC is sitting very comfortably, now hitting 2-2. Yes, there's a big medevac count up, but what we can end up seeing in a little bit is another robo and a robotics being put down. And that'll be so powerful because those constant tech switches are going to be so troublesome for Thorzain that's just establishing his 5th and 6th gases right now.
Look at these 4 zealots in the main base. They're just like stuck in the little corner. In the main base, right next to the Twilight Council on the double floor. It's really funny. It's like this is like me and this is like Mr. Bitter and Hawken, man. He like sits in one corner and waits for opponents to come to him, but he's not useful to the team in any other regards. He just kind of sits in the corner and camps, and he calls me a camper.
No,
I can't believe.
I don't believe that. I don't believe.
No,
he's
it's
like
totally
that.
true. In FPS games, he just kind of sits in the corner, and then it's either that or he just charges them by himself, like 1 versus 14, and just dies.
Hopefully it's not like that, Frodan. I don't believe it. Can't be like that. That can't be bitter. It can't be.
It's not. It's actually, I do that quite often too, especially when I'm sniping. Thorzain adding on 5 more barracks, doubling his production, and now and he actually has a pretty good medevac count. It's just going to also start aggregating ghosts, so he can combat the mainly gateway army. Is MC going to transition into Colossus? Yeah, he's going to drop a second robo as well as a robotics bay. His main is very crowded, Andre.
That's okay, man. That's okay. I mean, yes, he's going very heavily into his main, but this main is tucked away nicely in the corner. It's like the hardest spot for Thorzain to actually hit, so I agree with that so far. He's taking his 4th base, which I think he should have done a little bit sooner, but still, it's looking good. You can see his main is drying up pretty fast. Oh, unfortunately, only has 2 probes in that one assimilator. But how it stands, I mean, Thorzain is just now reacting to the High Templars. Remember, I mean, Terrans normally want to be ahead of the Protoss. That's how you can tell a lot of times if they're winning the game. If they're able to actually receive the High Templars pretty easily, then they're looking to be ahead. If they're actually reacting to the High Templars, then you're not looking too good. Because now that he reacts to the High Templars, MC can just completely tech switch and go something like Colossus. And you're not going to have a heavy Viking count because you're investing all of your gas into ghosts and medevacs. That's a really tough thing to do. And now Thorzain, you can see, is 137 supply to 188. This passivity favors MC just so very much.
MC now starting to transition to Colossus Factory, also scouting at the natural just to get a general sense of what his opponent's tech is at. Just like you said, MC is just going to have so much. He's already almost maxed. He's going to start the banking process, which makes it even more difficult because not only are you fighting one giant Protoss army, you're fighting the potential instant remax of Zealots that's going to chop away your already weak and stimped units.
That's right.
Thorzain now also trying to add mass ghosts as well as Vikings, but he's stretching himself very thin because you can see his +3 armor is very far behind. MC already has finished 3-3.
Yeah, this kind of feels like TVZ right now, where Protoss is actually Zerg, right? Like they're just relying on that bank to remax and overwhelm his opponent. And with MC taking expansion so aggressively, I feel like it's completely that situation. Now the battles work out very differently, so we'll see if MC is able to be that cost efficient, because let me tell you, when you have a good ghost count like Thorzain does, when you have a decent Viking count to deal with the Colossus, then hey, I mean, you're going to be very retentive in everything that you do. So MC could potentially just lose straight up in the confrontation, and then it could snowball for Thorzain, or he could just roll over his opponent with massive, massive, overwhelming units.
MC now getting all the tertiary upgrades, really. Like, he's getting gravitic boosters for his observers as well as shield upgrades, but realistically, in the eyes of EMP, shields upgrades aren't that high of a priority. We'll see if Thorzain's able to get a really good engagements. There's really tough spots for Protoss to kind of attack, especially near the 4th base. Terran control there for a while, so MC's doing this very systematically. He still has a War Prism as well in the top center of the map if he chooses to go for a reverse, or sorry, a behind-the-back storm drop of some kind. And that'd be really cool. Imagine if you flank with Templar from behind to storm.
Oh yeah.
The War Prism.
Oh, beautiful storm on top of all those units. Thorzain not paying attention, and we might have a little bit of trouble for Thorzain here. Now there is that Planetary Fortress that helped out so incredibly much. Good storms are actually going to blanket some of those Vikings, but not really too much here. And it looks like he's going to back up from here. You know, it's really tough to actually attack into a Terran that has a Planetary Fortress. This is just a 1,500 hit point meat shield. That really doesn't matter too much. I mean, yes, expansions are good, but when it comes down to it, winning the battle is a lot more important. So if you lose your Planetary Fortress, oh well. If you win the battle, that actually makes up a lot more money.
MC's pushing at the 4th ball, also dropping Zealots from his War Prism, so he's going to be doing multi-pronged aggression. Thorzain has to make a decision. A couple of his ghosts get stormed as well. This planetary gets surrounded, and that's supposed to be an anchor point for Thorzain. Although he does get a couple of snipes off on some of the units, MC has gotten what he wants, stifling Thorzain's economy.
Yeah, that was beautiful. You're supposed to engage right here. You want the Terran to be actually engaging here, and then Protoss really can't have any way of surrounding with those Zealots, killing the Planetary Fortress, and then you have a lot of wasted efforts. But Thorzain just slightly out of position, and look at that, MC is instantly just taking advantage of that position. Beautifully done. Now we might have another battle here. I would say Thorzain is looking really good with his composition. But it's going to come down to the storms. Oh my goodness.
Ooh, the Vikings are taking so much massive damage. Colossus doesn't even really need to engage. Although Thorzain is getting some nice snipes off, but MC can replace those so easily. Scan, trying to see if he can detect or kill off any observers for these ghosts to cloak and move in, but it doesn't even really matter. MC is so rich compared to Thorzain. And, I mean, I love that MC is also dropping cannons everywhere, making sure he can't get dropped. No potential room for comeback if you just make sure you can't get dropped.
That's right. And, you know, it's really, really tough for Thorzain to weather this storm, and I mean, this is going to be constant. MC should keep up the pressure non-stop. Make sure, even if he loses and trades out pretty poorly, make sure you're utilizing your advantage, which is your bank. Your bank is your strongest asset in this position. Thorzain is only at 165 supply, and you can see he's pretty mineral starved at this point. Natural mining out. Main has pretty much already mined out, so it's just his 3rd base. He's on maybe 2.5 mining bases. That's not too good, so if you can really exercise your advantage here, MC should be able to just propel that into a big W.
Yeah, and trades from this point on favors MC because of his ability to fall back. And yeah, sure, you might use some energy, but he's also got like 9-10 Templar scattered throughout his bases in preparation for any kind of counterattack. And again, MC's doing this very, very well, although Thorzain, he's hanging in there. You know, he's making sure to at least secure 1 base at a time, not trying to overextend and try to take 2 bases. He wants to focus on one area of combat. Says, I need to secure this 4th base. I need to secure, I guess from this point, he's going to secure a 5th base and control the center. If he can do that, then we have room for comeback, because you can kill off the army. If you have such a big, large army advantage, like say you get the EMPs off and you wipe everything off cleanly, then you can snowball that momentum all the way to victory.
That's right.
It's really, really tough.
It is.
Super hard.
It is. You need to be super cost efficient with that. And even now, MC is having like the insurance to make sure that he doesn't die like that. You can see a total of what? How many is this? This is extra 6. So 30 total gateways on the field. That is insane. Quad robo. That means I can get 6 times 4 is 24, and then 30 times 2 is 60. So you're looking at
84 supply instantly.
Yes.
I practiced my math skills right before our casting. I did a bunch of like arithmetics, like
nice.
just to make sure I wouldn't mess up for this very moment, Andre.
Frodan, the only thing is attacking into this position is a little bit tough. You want to actually displace the army before you actually engage. Now remember, if Thorzain loses out right here, he's dead. But if he wins, he needs to win by a big margin. Oh no!
His ghosts are dying, although a lot of EMPs land. There's still some storm energy. The Vikings are getting pretty tender. They don't want to push any farther forward. MC also controlling the top left, making sure Thorzain isn't secret ninja expanding, at least without MC's notice of it. Meanwhile, we see, again, 2 more command centers as well as Mass Marauder. We've been seeing this more out of Terrans, replacing a lot of their Marines and goes with Marauder, so that way they're more durable. They can handle storms. They can handle a couple volleys from the Colossus. And we'll see how good Thorzain's micro is. He can set himself up for a good concave. And technically, Thorzain doesn't really have to attack. I mean, he's the one that still needs more time. So MC is the one that sort of, if he wants to make a play, or sorry, if he wants to make something happen, he has to make a play.
That's right, and it looks like he will start to be a little bit aggressive against this one. Planetary Fortress at the perfect time, but no, Marines and Marauders are going to intercept this pretty nicely. And that being said, yeah, so we're going to have passivity yet again. And I completely agree, Frodan. I feel like MC should be a lot more active, but I understand the thought process as well. It's very easy to be on that slippery slope where you lose all your units immediately, and then that momentum just swings in. You can see the army for Thorzain's pretty intimidating, and he's doing everything right. I love what he's doing, adding on additional command centers instead of trying to be active, just saying, I'm going to rely on being super cost efficient in this game.
Yeah, he's also got less workers, too, so his army supply is technically way bigger. 148, almost 150 supply of army.
Oh my god.
Compared to 120, and that's just massive. Imagine if those 30 supply was purely in Ghost and Viking to deal with everything. Blanket storms to ensure that Thorzain's army does not pass any further. MC's control is very sharp this game. In fact, no stray high Templars I've seen thus far from MC. Thorzain also showing lots of restraint. Thorzain always being known for pristine Ghost control. And this is I'm having flashbacks to the Tal'Darim game where it seemed like MC was so far ahead the whole entire time, and all it took was a couple good EMP rounds from Thorzain, and things completely turned the tide, especially if you snipe observers and Ghosts are empowered and you don't land the storms on them. Anything can happen, Andre.
Yes, sir. And here we go. The big engagement might actually happen right here. Nice preemptive EMP, just like those storms. You want to be able to do that, but Vikings are not in position, Frodan, and they can actually kill some Ghosts!
Oh, 4 Ghosts get picked off immediately. That's a massive influx. I think Thorzain was not prepared for it, although there's still 18 Vikings practically one-shotting, insta-killing the Colossus. MC being, again, very meticulous with his control, blinking back to Stalkers. The army supply is actually not that big for MC, but he's going to storm everywhere. Vikings are taking massive amounts of damage and is utilizing the orbital commands for some surface area reduction, but Thorzain will crush this army, but I think MC traded just enough.
That's right, and you can see 19 Zealots being warped in here. I have no clue where they are, Frodan. But, oh my god, there they are. Holy moly, that's more than 19. It's a total of 30 Zealots. 30 Zealots, 60 supply will be the reinforcement here. But I don't think that he can really do much. This is what I love. Now, you can see the Ghosts are pretty weathered right now. They don't have a lot of EMPs, so that means the High Templars are, for a brief time, empowered. If MC can really take advantage of this time, then he will be able to just win the game straight up here. And how the Ghosts are right now, I think he's going to be able to do that. Oh my god!
Storms and feedbacks, although there's not enough energy, so feedbacks don't kill, but the Zealots are all there, ready to clean up everything. Instant cloak. MC also sees a lot of Vikings in preparation for the Colossus, but there are none there for the battle. Completely out-tech switched here, and Thorzain has to kind of struggle together a defense. Lots of reinforcements are getting cut off. Thorzain will stabilize, but again, he doesn't have time to rebuild while MC's been given all the time in the world. Another huge influx of Zealots that are all 3-3-3. And that's just so much because Thorzain's just going to lose more. And these trades, again, favor MC because he's now almost have the entire bottom half of the map.
That's right, but good choking over here at the third base is going to make him really cost efficient, but still this is scary because look at that. More Zealots, Frodan. Now, Frodan, MC needs to be a little bit careful because he is throwing a ton of bank away right now, and it looks like there is a little bit of stabilization. Oh, but more High Templars!
Maybe he's bringing all the High Templars that have been sitting idle for most of the game, and now he's bringing in the Storms. Oh my goodness, massive amount of carnage over at the Terran's natural ramp. More Zealots are streaming in as MC just has bank for days, and the 4th base is gone. The 3rd base is under siege. The natural might as well be dead soon because Thorzain can't really mine from anywhere else. He's down to his last 100 minerals.
And you know what? When you make that many Zealots, what else do you have? You have
GG.
Archons and Gas. GG gets called out. Beautifully done by MC. Really, really exercising his bank, making it so that he just puts on constant pressure. And you know what? Terra needs time. They need the ability to actually get those EMPs out, get those that energy, and be able to not only snipe, but EMP blanket the Protoss army.
Yeah, that was really well done. I just love that both players were very meticulous in how they controlled their ghosts and their High Templars, the caster battle, as a lot of times that's so delicate. If you get all of your High Templars EMP'd, that's it. You have nothing really to protect yourself. You can't storm to defend against the Vikings. They pick off your Colossus. From there it goes. But same opposite way. If you storm everything, kill off everything, then what does Terran have to answer all of the mass amount of units? And what was really cool is that the army supply was even more of a deficit for MC. Remember, he had 10 to 12 Templars all over the map, as well as a few Zealots patrolling. He was fighting at, I think, 50 supply deficit and still fighting super cost efficient.
That's right.
That's really awesome, especially like you saw his army was so small compared to Thorzain.
That's right. And another thing to keep in mind, guys, is the fact that 4 Robos are out. And when you see 4 Robos as a Terran, you say, when I remax, I need to get Vikings no matter what, because all of a sudden there could be in less than 60 seconds 4 Colossus out in the field. So I need to get Vikings. And you saw all those Vikings are really inefficient. They shouldn't really be there, but they have to be there just for the thought of Colossus being there.
Just in case, man, because
Exactly.
it just takes one time where you're not prepared.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden you're caught with your pants
And
down.
that's why you didn't see like that mix of units from Protoss. It was just Zealots and Archons, Zealots and Archons. That consistency of units is so powerful because when you go Vikings, Vikings aren't really good at dealing with either of those units. So go those 2 units, Zealots and Archons, and then you are able to just sweep your opponent away.
Well, thrilling game number 1, which was brought to you by Squarespace. For everything you need to create a website, go to nasl.tv/p/Squarespace for your own website creation, whether it's a blog, resume, or for your own projects. When we come back, game number 2 between MC and Thorzain. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a minute.